See, if we were truly sophisticated, it'd be men, you know.
Yeah, the
But
sopranos.
kind of loses the
It does.
oomph.
The oomph. The sopranos showed up. They did when they weren't supposed to be here. So if you heard high voices, they showed up. They were
The sopranos?
right here. Yeah, that's okay. They're always welcome.
They're always welcome. Okay.
If you heard high voices, don't worry.
Okay.
All right.
This is excellent. There they are. Who made New Year's resolutions? Fess up. Fess up. Okay, we got one honest person.
I don't make New Year's resolutions.
Actually, about 38% don't. I'm one of those. Did you used to make New Year's resolutions? Yes, and then you became enlightened. So how did that go? How long did they last?
It took 30 days, I think.
40 days and 40 nights. Actually, people don't do too badly. 75% make it through the first week. So there's a 25% drop-off rate. 71% make it through 2 weeks. Then it drops down. 64% after 1 month, and 46% get past 6 months. So actually, not too bad. But with the New Year's resolutions, what are people relying on usually? Willpower. And what kind of willpower is that? It's kind of, I gotta do it, I'm gonna do it, even if I hate it, I'm gonna do it! Right?
Sink or swim.
Yes, sink or swim. And that's the willpower of, the human and the ego. I want it when I want it. I'm gonna do it when I want to do it. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna lose that 500 pounds, even though I 400 pounds. Have you seen on Facebook? I love one of them. I'm doing so well with my New Year's resolutions. I was going to lose 20 pounds. I only have 30 to go. and it goes down that way. A little backsliding. And yes, we are speaking about will this morning because this is the year of powerful living. And each month we have been looking at a different power. And every month we get a test. If you're doing better and better. So you ready? What is the first month? Faith. Faith. And why do we care about faith? Yeah, it's faith is the foundation. Remember, Jesus said to Peter, and Peter is the disciple for faith, that upon your rock I will build a church. Upon faith I will build everything else. To have the faith, that strong faith. And often when we go into prayer, it's please give me the faith. Then February, love. Yes, faith and love, they go very close together. God is what? Love. Yeah. And as I go forward, we start looking at if God is love, then what might God's will, in quotes, be? So we're going to get back to this. And then October. And if you live in the north, especially the northeast and the Midwest, strength comes in like a lion, leaves like a lamb, right? Strength. March. What did I say, October? I am just moving through this year. And you're strength. Because sometimes that's all we have to draw upon is that inner strength when everything else seems to have disappeared and we feel lost and it's going within, please give me faith. And I rely upon your love. And I I draw upon the strength of God within me. Then my favorite, of course, April. Wisdom. Wisdom. Because if you use your powers and you do not temper it with wisdom, you can go into dangerous waters. One of the things that we had for you at the beginning of the year, and I will bring back next month, is to show each power and when we're using it appropriately, when we're using it too much, and when we're not using it enough, when we really get into the ego and the human consciousness and how it can be detrimental. Okay, so we need wisdom to temper everything. And sometimes when you don't have a clue where to go next, what do you say? Give me the wisdom. Give me the wisdom. And May.
Power.
Remember my great poses? Or maybe you'd like to forget them? My strength, my power poses? Yes, power. Because, one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. Correct? So power. We are powerful beings. I talk about that every Sunday. Power. Give that back. He looks powerful. Give that back. Back row there. Okay, power. And then what do we need to create anything? Imagination. That's as much as I'll sing. But yes, imagination. And it's from imagination is often brought onto us by yearning. Remember lying on the ground? Well, I grew up in kind of the country, and I got to lay in the grass on this, lot, and we were on the hill, so just lie there and look at the clouds, and imagination went wild. Imagination. And this is how we draw forth something wonderful in our physical reality. And then, of course, we need the power of understanding. Yeah, God help me understand what's going on. Or give me, the peace and the patience to know that it will come to me. And now, in October, and it's fun, I try to wear the color. August. What did I say?
October.
Why do you keep saying October? I wonder what's going to happen in October. Carolyn, tell me what's going to happen in October. It's going to be a surprise. I've got you all curious now. We're going to have to pray on that puppy. Okay, so and, each month there's a color associated with it, and this month is will. And I was thinking, well, what do I have that's gray? And then I looked in the mirror. But will, and we're going to go into the power of will in more depth this morning. Because those of you who've been around, I've got my thing about people who say, well, that's just God's will when something bad happens. As if God's up there plotting bad things to happen to you. Ew. God is love. Why would love plot get bad things to happen to you, right? So will, that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to keep will right here. If somebody asked, what am I talking about this morning? I said, Will Smith, Will Ferrell. Okay, so then we have, and I'm getting out of order here. Next month, which is September. See, you couldn't get me on that one. Power of order. And then we have, and that's what I'm bringing to my home, right? Order. Do you find that when you bring order to your physical surroundings, that your whole life becomes more orderly? Funny thing how that happens. Then we have zeal. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm as I spring forth to do the things that ought to be done by me. An affirmation written by co-founder Charles Fillmore when he was about 93. Okay? Zeal. And then in November, hey, you thought you were going to catch me again. Release. With the power of release or elimination, just to release everything that is holding us back. And what a great, wonderful preparation for the new year is to release everything that's holding us back. And of course, in December, it's life. It is life. We celebrate the birth of Jesus, the birth of the Christ consciousness as we know it. So with will, it's really kind of our CEO of consciousness, will. Because, where there is a will, there's a way. Well, where there is will, it's like where there's a will, there's the divine. When you tap into that divine will. And I came across a book, fairly recent publication, Divine Audacity. Do you love the title? Divine Audacity. And this is by Linda Martello Whitsett, who is a Unity minister. And when she talks about will, it's so in alignment with what I've had come to realize myself. So of course, she's very wise because she agrees with me. And we look at things, like, remember the Lord's Prayer? Of course you do. And we're going to sing it at the end of meditation today. What does it say? Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? And when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, what did he say? Thy will, not mine, be done. And it sounds as if there is this God out there that is willing all of these things for us and imposing it upon us. And what did we find, though? What did we learn in Genesis? What did God give us? God gave us free will. God gave us free will. So there is no outer being that is imposing something upon us. Because where is God? Within. One power and one presence. This universal source. God is principle. God is creator. God is not something separate from us. And what a disservice to have this image that still so many people have of, the man upstairs. There's no man upstairs. One thing, God is not a person. We anthropomorphize God. We create God in our own image. Come on, guys. See what trouble we get into when we do that? Notice the trouble we get into when we try to make God in our image? No. So we have a God that truly is, this universal source and is unlimited. All right, so nobody has a corner on God. Nobody. No religion, no individual, no philosophy has a corner on God. We all have our own interpretation. We all have our own way of tapping into that universal source. No one has a corner on God, and that includes unity. When I walked into a Unity church and I started listening to the teachings, I was going, I've come home. This is what I've been looking for. Because it never worked in the traditional Christianity. And I got a lot from traditional Christianity. There is so much there that is based on the teachings of Jesus. And Jesus was bringing us the understanding of universal principle, understanding of God. But when I got to unity, it's like, wow, yeah. And so it's not God's will is telling me everything I have to do. Especially, come on, guys. Why is it God's grace if something good happens and it's God's will if something bad happens? Does that make any sense at all? Does it make any sense? No. No. You just give me a microphone and a podium and... Okay, so thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So what, thy will, not mine. Okay, so thy will would be then a higher consciousness, yes? Inviting us to be in a higher state of being. Rather than my human, my ego-centric, I want it my way, now. And, on earth as it is in heaven. So, the expression as above, so below? And for years I didn't understand it. But how we tap into that higher vibration that is God, that's how we demonstrate in this world, on earth, in our physical realm, in our daily lives. So on earth as it is in heaven. So let us, create on earth. Let us tap into God. Let us tap into that principle, that universal source, that love. I mean, all of these attributes that I went through this morning, the powers that we draw from God. So let us make that our daily reality. So on earth as it is in heaven, so as above, so below. What I'm experiencing now is how well am I drawing forth from that universal source? How well am I tapping in? And wow, that can be painful sometimes, taking responsibility. That's why a lot of people don't want to be in unity or in New Thought, because there's such a huge part of it, this personal responsibility. You can't blame the devil. You can't blame something out there, because none of it is out there. It is all in here. There's a lot of blame and shame going on right now, correct, with the elections. It's everybody else's fault. And I'm old enough, I remember how many times we've been through this. And I can read. So I can look at history, ancient history. We keep doing it over and over and over again. And so we come together and we study so that we learn that we are responsible. So at some point, we will make the difference. We'll do our own intervention, and it starts with ourselves. Because we can change this pattern. It doesn't have to keep going. It seems as if it does. But what would God's will be? Linda Martello Whitsitt says that, may I bring in, when we talk about thy will, not mine, be done on earth as it is in heaven, so she has it as an affirmation, which would be, may I bring into the microcosm the good inherent in the macrocosm. Okay, got it? So what's God? Let's make it part of our lives right here. May I envision and live out the unifying power of divine love at the heart of all that is. That's what we're talking about. We do the Lord's Prayer over and over again. And do we really listen to the words after a while? Powerful, powerful affirmation, Lord's Prayer. This is part of it. So notice that nowhere is it you presume that in that supernatural being wills or demands a particular course of action from any human being. It doesn't say that. And again, in Linda's words, no condition or circumstances is set to us by the will of any superior sentient being. In other words, God cannot require us to do anything, and God cannot be a doer of anything, because God is not like a person. God, the one mind and power throughout the cosmos, is eternal life, infinite love, ever-present wisdom, and all spiritual power. That's what God is. So therefore, your will is the fulfillment of life, love, and wisdom, and all spiritual power. If you want to go to the next slide. So this is will. It's the ability to choose, decide, command, lead, and determine. So the disciple is Matthew. The body area is the center of the brain. So it's up here where the center for understanding is also. So will and understanding goes very closely together. Stone is onyx, color gray. And this is through discernment and prayer and meditation that this guidance came to Charles Fillmore. That's how we came with these designations. And I could go into a long explanation of why Matthew and why some of the stones and colors, but I think to just get in touch with truly what is will and how we demonstrate in our lives is where we need to focus this morning. And then our affirmation, I let God's perfect will be done in all that I think, say, and do. So let's say that together right now. I let God's perfect will be done in all that I think, say, and do. Have you ever wanted something so badly, and you're like, please, God, please, give it to me? And Linda told a story herself where, this is what I want. And I could relate to it because when we apply for ministerial school, we go through, there's a lot that we need to do beforehand, a lot of preparation. And then we have to apply for the application. And the first time I applied for the application, they wouldn't send me one because they didn't think I had done all the work yet, the coursework, et cetera. The second time, yes, I got the application, I applied, and they invited me for interview. And it was interesting, Linda was talking about when she went for interviews, she was redirected. She was not accepted, but they like to call it redirected, so we don't feel unaccepted. And I had that experience also. The first time I applied and I went for interviews on campus, they said, no, we want you to do some more work. Now, in my case, I ran into another Unity minister during the year in between, and I mentioned that I had been redirected. And she says, oh, well, it's not that you're not supposed to be a minister. It's just that it wasn't your class. Because at that time, we were in the same room with the same people for 2 years, 4 days a week. So we learned a lot about family dynamics, group dynamics, and every other dynamic you ever want to think about. So, is it your perfect group to be having these lessons with? Okay? So in my case, when you look at it, the broader picture, my will was that I get into ministerial school when I wanted to get in. And there was a broader picture. There was a divine will that was in operation, or greater good. That was not my class. And when I was accepted the following year, and I was with my class, the people I was meant to learn my lessons with, and I looked at the class that I would have been part of had it been my will. And I'll tell you, I would have not have made it through the first semester. They would have expelled me. I was so crashed and burned with that energy. And they were wonderful people, okay? And they had, they graduated, they're magnificent ministers. I still know many of them. That was not my class. In Linda's case, when she was redirected, her son then had a physical challenge, an illness. She needed to be home for that because she was going to commute. She was going to, Monday through Thursday, she was going to be at Unity Village, and then she was going to go home on the weekends. So her redirection meant that she was home to be there, to be present. So there was a greater picture going on that she did not see. Said, you get this in operation. And we said, yeah, but it didn't happen. That was my will. I want to exercise my will. And back in 1981, I went to my first and my one and only baseball game, professional baseball game. It was at Fenway Park in Boston. And the Yankees, which is my team, and my congregation in Boston had to go through a lot of forgiveness because they were my team. But I went, and it was Red Sox Yankees. And Reggie Jackson was the big player that year. He was a big star, Reggie Jackson, Reggie Jackson. And I watched in horror, and I was standing remotely. And I was standing there over in the Red Sox section, fearing for my life. Because I was going, Yankees, Yankees. Anyway, no, I didn't do that. But anyway, I did cheer whenever they, had a good hit. And I watched in horror, though, as Reggie Jackson, because of him putting his own will, his ego, human-based will, over the broader good of the team, they lost. The Yankees lost. I mean, I could see it. He did stupid things because he had to look good. And then I was reading a story about Reggie Jackson from his earlier team, the Baltimore Orioles. And on that team, the rule was you do not steal a base. Now, does everybody understand baseball enough to know what I'm talking about? How the runners will steal a base if they see an opportunity. They'll hit the ball, they'll get on a base, and then if nobody's looking, they'll try to grab another one, okay? So he was on first. The rule was, do not steal a base unless the manager gives you the signal that it's okay. He was on first base. He's looking over at second. It was open. He did not look over at his manager, and he ran for it. And he made second base. And he felt good. Look at me, I did it. Right? The manager was so furious, he pulled Reggie Jackson off the field and put in a substitute runner. And he had Reggie Jackson sit next to him on the bench. See, what happened was the manager knew, it was like, God knows, there's a greater good that is in operation. So what was going on was, the next batter was Lee May, who was a major power hitter, okay? And because first base was now open, the pitcher walked him. Now, this is a power hitter. The manager had it set up in the right order, which we're going to study next month in September. So it had the right order so that Reggie would be at first base, and then the power hitter would hit it, and they would get more bases, correct? All right, so they walk May. But then the batter after May was not that good. So the manager had to send in a pinch hitter. So that weakened the bench strength. All right, this is all because Reggie Jackson exerted his will over the will of the greater good. So do you get that? I mean, there's always something going on. And do you ever have something happen? So why did this happen? It doesn't make any sense. This is not what I wanted. And you might even have done your prayers and affirmations, done your work, and it still doesn't happen. It's like, so what's happening? So is it God's will that bad things happen to me? No, not at all. There's always something else going on. There's an energetic field out there in which we are experiencing life. And it might be that our will is helping to shift that broader energetic field. Right now, the world seems in crisis, does it not? Emily Cady would call it chemicalization in her book, Lessons in Truth, chemicalization. For me, this is a global chemicalization going on. So, what if by demonstrating our own will in what we do have influence over is shifting that energy of that broader picture. And that's waiting for us to connect with that God within, that one presence and one power. So that at a later time, what we had envisioned is going to be ours to claim, because we have created a healthier world, or a healthier experience within our own community. Would that work for you? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But to have, that understanding that, okay, yeah, my will, all right, this is what I desire very much. And this is what I'm willing to do to bring this into physical reality. And am I also willing to be tuned in with all that is going on around me, and to know that I am contributing to this greater will of the world? Okay. There are three other parts of will, and I'll go over them briefly. If you want, for will to be as truly strong, one is choice. What is it that you're choosing for your life, that you're choosing to focus your will on? So it's your choice. And there's infinite choices for us. And as soon as we hone in on one, all the other choices go away as long as we're focused on the one. Okay, so we make a choice. And then make the commitment. In a way, this is where willpower, when you take it to a higher level, comes in. So we make the commitment to focus and to take that one piece of that, all the choices that we've had, to make that one choice come into physical demonstration. So we make the commitment. And then being willing, to have the willingness, being willing. You could also talk about allowing our good to come to us, celebrating everything that happens along the way that is bringing us closer. So making that initial choice, making the commitment, and then the willingness to have it happen in your life and to allow. Because there are many people who want certain good in their life, and then when it starts to come to them, they're like, I don't know what to do with it. And I remember that happening to me one time, that the good came to me so fast, I got scared. Oh my goodness, what if it all really happens? And I stopped it. Here'd be my will. I was I was tapping into that universal will, and as above, so below. And it was everything that, I had a vision board. I'll tell you, it was Bible verses around the whole thing, and it was sealed on each, and everything started coming to pass so quickly. I didn't know what to do with it. So allowing it into your life, being willing. So what I'd like to do now is really go straight into a meditation where we open ourselves to will. My will, the universal will be done. So I invite you to close your eyes, breathe deeply. Breathing the light and the love that is God. Allow it to fill every cell and tissue of your body. Fill every thought. And at every exhale, releasing any strain or stress you might be experiencing. And we affirm, centered in spiritual will, I affirm my capacity to choose. Guided by my companion powers of understanding, wisdom, and imagination, I am able to draw from infinite possibilities one divine idea. So let's invite in that one divine idea and allow it to catch hold of you. And now claim it as your powerful desire. And root it in your awareness as yours. And with your divine desire, affirm that I affirm my capacity to commit to a path ahead. I will be a blessing. I will live as the light of the world. I will. And now insert your specific commitment. I will. And continuing as an affirmation, I will support. I will do what actions are needed to support my choice. I affirm my willingness. I am willing. I am willing to remain attuned to the source of all good. I allow my life to unfold. I acquiesce to the truth. And I cooperate with the impulse of my divine identity. I'm willing to courageously decide what I will have, do, and be. I'm willing to stretch beyond perceived limits. I'm willing to walk with confidence. I'm willing to risk being vulnerable in love. I'm willing to listen without feeling threatened. I'm willing to experience the joy of living today. I'm willing to be purposeful, to know I am divine. Divine will is my spiritual name in nature. I am willing to be the light of the world, wherever I am and whatever the circumstances. And knowing that you are divine will, that you are divine light and love shining in this world. I invite you to capture your light and your love and that divine will and radiate it out to bless everyone within these sanctuary walls. And because you're powerful beings going beyond our Unity Center, and bless our Las Vegas Valley, remembering that this is Spirit City. And as we raise the vibration of Las Vegas, we send our light and love out to bless our nation and our world, where there is darkness and fear and hatred, anger, feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. We shine our light, we radiate our love. Darkness cannot survive in the light. And we know that in this moment we have changed the lives of people we will never meet, but whom we love, in whom we see the Christ presence. And we affirm it with the singing of our Lord's Prayer.